Well, hello there, folks. In today's video, I want to talk to you about the worst mistake that I ever made as a, workshop facilitator. The worst mistake I ever made. And this was a very tragic event, but it was the best learning experience I ever had as a presenter. And it was a great learning experience, right? And the reason for this was at the time, it was gut-wrenching. It was a punch in the gut, it was a punch in the face, but it was the best thing ever happened to me because it really lowered my ego. It really lowered my ego and it allowed me to connect better with people, with my audience, right? So just to give you some context, it was probably back around maybe 2015, 2016. And it was a really harsh experience, but I'm so glad it happened, right? So I was running a workshop up in Brisbane. I had probably about 22, 23 people in the room, and it was the first time that we were running this course, and it was a higher level course, and essentially it was all about training leadership, trainer development, and also a little bit of compliance as well, right? Now, I had recently just graduated from this course myself as well, and if you had been with me, you would have seen me walk into this group of 21, 22 people, and I was cocky as hell. I was so full of myself, and I believed I knew everything, and I believed I knew more than everybody in the room. Now, here's the thing. There is a slight possibility I did. There's a slight possibility I did, and maybe I had a little bit more presenting experience than they did. But these people were highly experienced in their field. They'd been running organizations for a long time, and they knew quite a bit. But here's the deal, folks. I presented over the next 5 days, and every single thing I did, it came across like I was speaking down to them. And in my tonality, I was saying things like, you guys should know this. And, you guys should be doing this. And I was letting the word should come out of my mouth far too often. And I was shoulding all over them, right? And my arrogance got so bad that on the Friday morning, I'll never forget this. I'll never ever forget it. I walked into the hotel venue and nobody was in the room. Nobody was in the room at all. Nobody, right? And so I walked in, I'm like, where is everybody? Where's everyone? And then I started to panic. I started to worry because it was starting time. And then I went down to the restaurant at the hotel venue and I sort of said to everyone, so what's going on? Are you coming back up? And through conversations, basically they let me know that I'd been a little bit full of myself. I'd been a little bit condescending. I'd been a little bit disrespectful, and they had not wanted to come back into the training room, but they wanted to have breakfast and talk about it, right? But the thing was, in that moment, I really had a huge moment of eating a humble pie. And from that moment onwards, I made a decision. I decided that it was no longer about me. It was all about my audience, and it was all about building the camaraderie and the collaborative spirit in the training room. And I started to actually write down a sticky note and a phrase on a sticky note to remind myself to get off my high horse, right? And the phrase that I wrote down that I'd love you to write down is, as we all know. So instead of saying you should know, I started to incorporate the phrase as we all know. As we all know, XYZ is really important, or as we all know, or as we all do, as we all know, right? And that was a really great phrase to remind me, get my ego out of the way. And then naturally now I also use other phrases like, as you and I would both agree. That's another great one there. Or I will talk about personal discoveries, right? So when I did XYZ, I really discovered the importance of blah, blah, right? So in order to get your ego out of the way and stop being condescending to people or talking down to them, you want to catch yourself anytime you're letting should come out of your mouth, such as you should know this, or you should be doing XYZ, or, I know everything kind of mentality. So anyway, hopefully that's some value there for you. It was a great learning experience for me. And now, even to this day, I still have that written on a sticky note just to remind myself. The phrase is, as we all know, and setting up a collaborative learning environment where you're just there to essentially facilitate breakthroughs, but you are not the sole source of everything in the world, and you're not better than people. You're just working with people to help them become even better, if that makes sense. So on that note, folks, hope you got some value from the video. If you did, like, comment, share, let's get the message out there, and hopefully you learned something from my tragic experience there. It was a great punch in the gut, but the best one I could ever get. Thanks for watching, team. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.